The cloud.
This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, hi, this is Jolynn from Wild Pony Eventing, and we're here with Zachary Iosim, who is a junior Mustang trainer. Hi.
Hi, how are you? Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be talking with you.
Absolutely. So Zachary, please tell us how you got into horses. What's your background in history?
So my horse experience started now about 5 years ago. I started one day randomly, just decided to go to my local horse farm. It's about 15 minutes from where I live. And I just signed up to volunteer one day with no prior experience, never touched a horse. I couldn't even tell you like a bay horse from a Palomino horse. It was that little experience. And then they allowed me to volunteer. They took me in, and everybody there was just so immediately friendly. And that was really my first encounter with like the horse industry, was how friendly everybody could be. Everybody was always so uplifting, and I learned so much. Every single day I would spend there, I always had a new lesson, whether it was riding, on the ground, training, tack, everything. And then slowly over time, I just kind of like built up my experience. I started heading there more often. I got a lot more responsibilities. I got to work with a lot of the horses. I started being able to do a lot of groundwork with them and under saddle work. And then that really all just kind of flourished into what it is now today.
Wow.
5 years
So
later.
did you trade work for lessons and training?
I did. So my first little bit there was mostly volunteering, just to volunteer, just from the good of my heart. I got to go, I got to feed the horses, groom the horses. And at first that was more than enough for me. And then as I think the owner of the farm, it's Legacy Riding Stables in New Jersey, the owner, Brittany, I think as she realized I was really like in it and I wasn't just there every weekend or something like that, and this is really what I wanted to do, she really gave me all of these opportunities to be able to grow my horse knowledge and experience and training. So to that, I'm really grateful, because I really think if I never accidentally stumbled upon the farm one day, then horses would never be a part of my life.
Wow. Okay. And how did Mustangs become part of it?
So Mustang came along when I met the barn manager at Legacy, James Duffy. He is a big Mustang advocate. He's done several extreme Mustang makeovers. He owns several of his own Mustangs. And then at the time when I started there, he had a tip horse in for training. Her name was Ravenna. And she was, I want to say, a 6-year-old Mustang. I don't remember her herd now, because this was almost 5 years ago when I first started. And he really introduced me to Mustangs. He started telling me about the Extreme Mustang Makeovers and the BLM and the programs and all of these wild horses that really have no place to go and just kind of need a soft landing. And then he started letting me work with his tip horse, Raven, and it was just immediate, like I just knew that this was what I wanted to do. You know, I stepped into the round pen with her for the first time, and it was like the world stopped. And then from there, I just loved them. You know, it just kind of grew into anytime we had a Mustang, I'd ask to be able to work with this Mustang, or when I'd get a lesson, I'd ask, can I ride on that Mustang, that kind of stuff. And then it grew into me really just falling in love with all of them.
Okay.
I
So
wish I could buy all of them.
yeah, so did you learn groundwork first or riding first, or both at the same time?
So groundwork came first as far as just general horse experience outside of just the world of Mustangs, because the farm is actually a lesson barn. So there's at any given time somewhere between 40 and 50 horses that need saddling, walking, watering, feeding. So I first learned how to take care of them on the ground, how to be able to pull them out of the field safely and work around them safely, and just kind of be around them and kind of have understanding of like, this is 1,000-pound animal and I'm not 1,000 pounds, and we kind of have to have that understanding and that trust. And then once that kind of came along, then riding started to build into it.
Okay, cool. Personal Mustangs?
Yes. So right now I have one that I own. She's everything I could ever want in a horse. Like if I could dream up the perfect horse in a laboratory, it's her. And I got her on a whim, basically, because the way I got her was from the 2021 Extreme Mustang Makeover. So I never thought that I would end up doing my own Mustang Makeover, in all honesty, until 2021. And it was the kind of like the end of the COVID year. Things were starting to open back up. And then boom, Mustang Makeover in New Jersey. And how do I pass on an opportunity to do one in my own home state? And then that's where Pippi came from. So now I have her. I love her. I've had her since the day I got her for the Mustang Makeover. There's never been a minute in my mind when I thought about selling her. From the day I got her, I knew she was going to be my horse forever. And now we've just spent the past almost 2 years now growing together and learning together. And
Cool.
she is the Mustang that I would say really started it all for me as far as growing myself as a trainer, rather than just somebody who loves Mustangs, turning that into a real passion and something I could do with my life.
What's her HMA?
It's Triple B Nevada.
Oh, okay. So, and she's Palomino, correct?
She is. I can
Okay.
show you the photos of her if you like.
Please do. And
All right.
tell us a little bit about your journey with her.
Sure. So let me see. Let me just make sure I could get this screen shared for you. Just let me know that you can see it.
See it.
All right, perfect. So this is Pippi, and on the left here, that photo of her with her little spatula on her head is the
Yeah.
first photo that I ever saw of her. So I don't know if you're familiar with Rebecca Bowman. She has a tip
Yeah.
storefront in Tennessee.
Yep.
So once I made my post on Facebook that I was officially doing the makeover and I was accepted as a trainer, she messaged me and she told me that she's going to be getting in a shipment of a lot of yearlings to her storefront for the New Jersey makeover. And then I think it was probably for the next 2 weeks after I saw this photo of her that I was on the phone with her probably for an hour a day and texting her every other hour of that day, trying to reserve her. I was like, I'll pay extra for her. I'll come pick her up tomorrow if I have to. Anything that I need to do to get this horse, I'll do it. And it worked out. And I ended up getting it.
What attracted you to her?
It was her spatula. So the second I saw this photo of her, I looked at her and I saw the little spatula on her head. And I was like, that's
Yeah.
it. She's got to be the one. And there was, I think, when the horses were delivered to Rebecca for the makeover, she had received, I think it was about 115 horses total for the makeover. And
Wow.
out of all of those 115 horses, she was one of 2 Palominos.
Yeah.
And the first photo I saw of her, or the first video rather I saw of her, was her walking off the trailer. And the 10 horses before her, as they loaded off, ran by, ran by, ran by. And then all you see is this tiny little Palomino with her feather duster, sad little tail walk off. And she just kind of like walked off, turned towards the camera, smelled around, almost like it was almost, I felt like when I was watching the video, like she introduced herself to me. And then that's what I knew. I just knew from the jump that I wanted her and she was going to be the one. And I'm glad that it ended up working out.
Wow. Okay. So
And
she
then
came from Georgia then.
she came from Nevada, so she was rounded up in Nevada and then ended up in Tennessee at Rebecca Bowman's storefront. And then I went to pick her up and bring her to New Jersey.
Okay, Tennessee. Sorry.
Tennessee.
So tell us a little bit about what it was like gentling her and getting her ready for the makeover.
So gentling her was nothing that I ever could have imagined. My first touch with her was actually even before she made it back to my farm at the storefront pickup location when she was in the between the 2 panels getting ready to load on the trailer. She like stuck her nose through the pen a little bit and I got a little scratch in there.
Yeah.
And then you could just tell immediately that her demeanor was so, what's a word to describe it? I would say it was just so interested. She was never scared of anything. She was never scared to see all the people or get on the trailer. She was interested. It was almost like she wanted to be able to learn what it was like living in the outside world. And
Yeah.
then I really just used that and her natural curiosity for everything to be able to create my plan for the makeover. And it went super smoothly. I was able to get my first real touch when she was back at my house on day 1. She started immediately eating hay out of my hand. And then we basically began training ASAP. So on day 1, she already came to me with a halter on. I had her sent to me with a halter on. And then once I got her, we started the leading process. I had her kept in a pen in the back, the Mustang pen at Legacy. And I just started kind of with whatever she told me almost that she wanted to do. She was always so interested in everything. The second I showed her the lead rope for the first time, she would like inch towards me and smell it. And then she'd walk around me and try to kind of get near me and smell me. And it was just a process of her figuring out that I could show her what she wanted to know. It was like she was asking me to show her what the real world was like, and I was able to show her. And I think that that's what really made her trust me, and what made me trust her back is knowing that anything she could ask of me, I would never get mad at her. I would never anytime she got scared or anything. It was just a process of learning where that balance was for the both of us.
Right. Okay.
And then let's see.
And you had, oh, look at that tail.
This is the photo from the first day I got her. That's when she first landed with me. That's what she looked like. She was such a tiny little, like a little
Yeah.
sprout.
Yeah. And lean.
Yes. Oh my God. So, so lean. And I remember as soon as she walked into that pen, immediately ran towards the hay. She like didn't even hesitate. She saw
Yeah.
hay and she was like, "Yep, this is my new home. This is where I'm gonna be forever."
Okay.
She is a food monster. She
Yeah.
would probably sell me for one peppermint. She would trade me for a peppermint.
She's a yearling in these photos?
This is, yeah, this was her as a yearling. So I got her when she was 9 months old.
Wow. Okay.
Mhm. And this was her in those photos. And then this was her as a foal. So the
Wow.
process of finding this photo took me almost the entire length of a year to be able to find this photo.
Wow.
I
How
would
did you
tell-
find it?
So thanks to the Mustang community, actually, the entire credit I give to being able to find this photo and the background on her, and then being able to use that to eventually find her mother, which I'll get to in a sec, is all thanks to the Mustang community. The people on Facebook in the Facebook groups were so, so, so helpful. There were an insane amount of trainers and photographers and people who visited the storefronts, and even the manager of the Ewing, Illinois corral all messaged me and were helping me scour the internet and photos to be able to find her. And then we did. And I remember when I posted this photo that we officially found her, it took me almost a year of searching. And every single day I would get on that Facebook group, I'd connect with the people that were helping me. We'd all be searching. We'd relay the information we had. It was like an investigation to be able to find where Pippi came from.
Wow.
And then once we found the photo and I posted it, I remember I'll never forget the feeling I got when it reached almost 1,500 likes and comments. And it felt like I had an army behind me, an army of people who love these horses so much. Nobody knew Pippi. Nobody knew where she came from, what kind of Mustang she was. She was my horse and nobody else's. And yet everybody was so willing to just be able to help me find her. And that's what really like warms my heart, is that I can just imagine anything I could ever need in the Mustang community. It's like there's an army behind me and I know I'll be able to get it.
Yeah.
So it was just a really amazing feeling.
Yeah, I bet. That it's really cool to be able to see her mom. So have you located her mom?
I did. So then after this photo was found, I ended up contacting the BLM. I spent a long time trying to get somebody on the phone, and then I eventually did, and I got in touch with the head of the Wild Horse and Burro program for Nevada, so for the state she came from. And
Mhm.
she was able to help me locate her mother and then her mother's brand number. And using that and more Facebook investigating and a lot more help from the Mustang community, I was able to find where her mom was. And now I'm still in touch with her owner in Arizona.
Wow, that's very cool.
It was an amazing feeling to be able to like keep track of her and know where she came from and her origins. And it's just spectacular.
Yeah. And it's amazing. I mean, of course they look alike because they're both so light, but
Mhm.
their face and eye they could be twins.
I know. They're so beautiful, aren't they?
Yeah, they really
And the
are.
photo itself is like with the background and it's just such a beautiful photo.
Yeah. Do you know who
I
took
have
the
it
photo?
framed in my bedroom.
I bet. Do you know the photographer?
I don't. So I found it on what was the website? I don't remember what the website was called, but I found it on a website where there was hundreds of thousands of photos posted from tons of Mustangs all over different herd management areas. So I was never able to find who the actual photographer was, but I wish I could.
Yeah.
And if anybody watching has any idea, please, please, please let me know.
Yeah. Yeah. Any photographers in Nevada? Maybe they took the Palomino pair.
Oh,
Okay. So how did you do in the makeover? How did it like what do you think of how you did in the makeover, strengths and weaknesses?
so we ended up placing fourth place overall in the makeover out of 10 competitors. So I would say we did really, really good for my first
Yeah.
makeover and Pippi's first makeover. So that was an awesome experience. And for the actual makeover itself, I think I would say that I am really happy with the fact that me and Pippi both gave it the best we could. And
Mhm.
that's really all I could ever ask of her. I never went into it hoping or expecting to come out on top or in first place. I really just went into the makeover in every single one of those classes, hoping that the effort she gave me and that the trust she was willing to show me was
Mhm.
better than it was the day before. And that's really all you can, I think, do when you're training horses is take the little rewards. Take every small reward you can. And
Yeah.
then for our makeover, it ended up sadly becoming a virtual makeover. So we had to do all of our classes recorded virtually from home.
Mhm.
So I remember the entire morning of makeover day, we were probably filming each of those classes 6 or 7 times. And you could tell that Pippi after like 3 or 4 was like, "Oh my gosh, why are we doing this again?" You know?
Yeah.
And yet every single time she showed out and she showed
Yeah.
up and she gave a better effort than she did the video before. And
Yeah.
that is the best I could ever ask of her. And now
Yeah.
every day to this day, every day we do something, it's always a little bit better than something we've done before.
Yeah. So with a yearling, what kind of things do you do in a makeover?
So my focus with her was specifically liberty and a lot of trick training and natural horsemanship. I ended up finding a really, really big passion for the liberty horsemanship and for the trick training when I found Dan James. And then I was actually given the awesome opportunity to be able to spend 2 weeks in Kentucky working with him and training with him
Cool.
and really learning what it takes to be a liberty trainer. And
Mhm.
then bringing that back and being able to implement it into my actual training, the
Mhm.
level of difference I saw was incredible.
Mhm.
Using the natural horsemanship method and my liberty training and the trick training, I found that it created this open communication where I also learned not only to expect the horse to do what I'm asking them, but
Mhm.
to also take a step back and realize that they're communicating with me too, you know? Like this is a
Yeah.
partnership and it can never just be that one-way road where I expect something from them without ever giving anything in return. And by doing the trick training and the liberty, Pippi was able to show me when she reached her limit or when something was too much for her, too strong for her.
Mhm.
And I think that is a major part of our training where I never get ahead of myself and over expect something from her.
Mhm.
And in return, she gives me her best effort and all that she can. And that's how we do it.
Yeah.
And it works for us.
Okay. What are her tricks at this point?
So I have actually some photos attached
All
in here.
right.
Let me find them. So this was the process of working up towards our makeover, some of these photos. And then this was her progress report for the first one. And then the second one. And then I'll come back to those, but let me find her trick. So this was our pre-makeover photo shoot that we took before we did the
Okay.
makeover. So this photo all the way to the left is her showing off her bow.
Uh-huh.
So her main trick, I would say her showstopper is definitely the bow.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, in her arsenal, she also knows how to bow. She knows the lay down. So
Uh-huh.
there's a lot of her tricks. She knows the bow. She knows the lay down. She loves that pedestal. So that pedestal that she's standing on in the middle is her
Yeah.
favorite place to be. We could be running around cantering in the round pen, and she'll just fly off and stand on that pedestal. It's like her throne.
Yeah.
So the bow, the lay down, she goes on both of her front knees. She knows how to knock down cones and pick cones back up. She's a very, very respectful horse. She knows how to use her front paws to wheel a barrel, to like push a barrel.
Oh,
And then we do a lot of liberty. So like liberty circles, we'll do liberty figure eights and liberty jumps and that kind of stuff.
okay. How old is
And
she now?
she is going to be 3 this spring.
Wow.
Mhm.
Okay. Do you have a riding plan for when she's older?
Yes. So my goal with her is to make her a bridleless horse. I
Mhm.
really want to be able to work on my bridleless training. And I think by having the groundwork foundation with the liberty and the natural horsemanship, I think it's a really good milestone for us to be able to achieve.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to work on her for a lot of bridleless riding and then a lot of, I would say more towards the Western pleasure kind of stuff. I want to be able to get those really nice slow lopes and a really nice trot.
Mhm.
And I'm very fortunate at our farm that we have a 500-acre nature preserve filled
Oh,
with all
wow.
trails. So I definitely want to get her out into the trails and riding out in the trails and just having fun and a blast out there as well.
Cool.
Hmm. And I
Okay.
would love to start taking her to some Liberty shows and some Liberty performances this year. I have a plan in motion, a plan set in motion that I've been working on for a little while now to Actually, at the end of this week, launch my training business and my performance business for Liberty. And
Okay.
Pippi is obviously my superstar for that. So
Okay.
we've got a lot of plans in the works to be able to get that started. It's going to be called Magic Performance Horses.
Nice.
Thank
So
you.
is Pippi your only personal Mustang?
She is. Right now, she's my only personal Mustang. I do own another horse right now. She's an off-track thoroughbred. She was a rescue project horse.
Mhm.
So I'm in the process of training her to try to find her a new home right now too. But I also have, like I said, big plans of getting more Mustangs as soon as I can become a tip trainer.
Okay.
Mhm.
And
And
you turn 18 the end of the summer,
yes, I turn 18 in August.
which will make you
But
eligible to become a tip trainer.
yes, which I'm very, very excited for. And
Okay.
right now, at the moment, even though I don't personally own them, I work with my another Mustang from Legacy from the farm. Her name is Cold Brew. She's
Mhm.
also a 2-year-old Mustang. She's from, I believe, one of the Utah herds. I don't 100% remember which one. I'll have to get
Okay.
back and like look which one. But she is a Mustang at the farm who I've been groundbreaking right now to tip training for all of the tip requirements. And I've started a lot of Liberty work with her as well. And then starting next week, I'll be traveling to a friend of mine's farm to help her work with her 3-year-old Mustang that she just got as well.
Okay. So
Mhm.
tell us a little bit about how you approach gentling and training, because it sounds like your process is a little unique because your focus is liberty.
It is. So I think the way I would describe my training and my process is to keep things fun. I am definitely a person who wants to have fun. I love to run around. I'm full of energy. And I think that when you put that into your training and that is the level of energy and excitement that you're putting into your Mustang, that's the level of energy that you're going to get back. So when you're keeping it fun and it's exciting and they're interactive and they're really intrigued and engaged in the training that you're doing, I think that the horse that creates is one that's excited about the job and the work they're doing. So I always want to make sure that my training is coming from a place of just having fun. I never want it to be any sort of anxiety or stress or stressing out my Mustang. I just want it to be pure fun because that's all it should be. When you walk into a round pen or a ring and you have the opportunity to take this horse and train it and work with it and bond with it, that's an amazing experience and that's a fun experience. And the entire experience should always just be filled with fun and enjoyment and excitement.
Mhm. Okay.
So tying that with my Liberty work, I love to just do fun, crazy things. By desensitizing a horse, I'll take a plastic bag and tie it to my head and dance around, or I'll take rocks and put them in a bottle and shake around with a loudspeaker playing, or just run around and dance and jump. And I think my training follows the natural horsemanship and the Liberty methods
Mhm.
while keeping it fun and exciting and intriguing for the horses.
Okay.
Mhm.
Are you going to do another makeover?
I would love to do another makeover. Right now that I have my Mustang and then the 2 other Mustangs I'm working with and another training horse, I'm not looking to do another makeover right now. But when I turn 18 and I'm able to become a tip trainer, I also want to sign up to be able to do an adult extreme Mustang makeover where I get to get an adult
Right.
Mustang and saddle break it all the way.
Okay.
Mhm.
Have you saddle broken a horse yet?
I have. So I started with Pippi. We've done a lot of working towards the saddle breaking and being ridden and that kind of like building up for what we're going to be doing now that she's approaching 3.
Yeah.
And then the other Mustang at the farm, I've started saddle breaking as well. And I've gotten to work with other horse breeds that aren't Mustangs that I've gotten to saddle break. But I'm looking forward to be able to getting more training horses in to be able to start saddle breaking them.
Okay.
Mhm.
What's been your toughest part in gentling so far?
Good question. My toughest part in gentling, hmm, I would probably say the toughest part in gentling is getting to a point where you and your horse are really comfortable with each other. Because I think that trust with a horse is really, really hard to build and it takes a lot of dedication and spending time with the horse and really getting them to understand that they can trust you. But I also think that's something that's really, really easily broken and hard to earn back with a horse. So with Pippi, I was super, super fortunate that always her demeanor was kind and sweet. And she was just always so energetic that she was my first Mustang. So when I did inevitably make those mistakes and I was also working on myself and my own training, she never got mad at me and she never angered out on me or lashed out on me. She was always very forgiving. But I would say the hardest part of it would probably be figuring out that balance of trust and not going over the limit of where you're starting to push the boundaries with your horse.
Right. Okay. How about other horses that you've been helping to gentle? Any really good experiences or really bad experiences?
Yes. So the horse that I have right now, my thoroughbred, was also the first thoroughbred project I ever got. And when I got her, she had a lot of anxiety, the most anxiety I think I've ever seen in a horse, where everything with her was just always her brain was always moving 100 miles a minute, you know? Anything she wanted to do, it almost felt like she was anxious to do it and she just needed to bolt through it. So being able to take the time and work with her, and also teaching myself to be able to slow down and take things in and really just enjoy the moment and focus on what you're doing and not speeding through everything. That was a really, really cool experience for me. And then I've had her now for almost 3 months. And there was a point about a month ago where I had brought her to a horse park, the horse park of New Jersey near me, for some indoor schooling at an indoor arena there. And it was that day that we were riding. And for some reason, that training method, or I mean, that training day, is where everything really clicked with her. And I could feel in my riding that she was understanding what I was telling her. And that was an unbelievable moment that I can't even describe.
Yeah.
It was just amazing to feel that, like, the light bulb go off in that, like, aha moment with
Right.
her.
Okay. Have you had any really difficult horses that you've had to work with yet?
Yes. So by working at the farm and by having a big lesson program, we're always getting horses. We have a lot of horses coming in. There's always some horses leaving, going out, you know. So a lot of times we'll get horses that are just never what you expect, you know, like you can never really know what you expect when you're getting a horse until you actually get it and you're able to work with it. And
Yeah.
then I would say, as far as Mustangs go, Cold Brew, who's the Mustang at Legacy that I'm also working with right now, she was definitely a harder Mustang to work with. She was always very, I wouldn't say nervous or skittish so much as she was sensitive to everything. It was like the slightest pin drop would set her off, and then she would super, super focus on that. And it was in kind of a windy road figuring out how to work with her to be able to get past that, because that's never something I'd ever experienced before. And it was, on one end, it was difficult. And there was a lot of times where I just wanted to give up and like throw in the towel and be like, I can't do this. And then I remembered that everything I'm doing is for a reason, right? Like, I try to like sit back and tell myself that you have to take the small rewards. And I think I went into it kind of expecting something from her after training Pippi, being like, oh, I've trained this Mustang, so now I can do it. And this is what I expect from you. And then it was definitely an eye opener to really realize that that's not how it is. And no horse is ever going to be like that. You can never go into it expecting something. You just have to be able to go with the flow of each horse and just take what they give you. So she definitely taught me a lot of important lessons for my training and as a trainer.
I think reactive horses are the toughest horses to work with, especially a wild one.
Yes, yes. I would definitely agree with you on that, because it was, but at the same time, I mean, you can't blame them, right? It was definitely like it was almost like I understood where she was coming from. And she had just been through so much, this horse, you know, like I get it. You had to get taken away from your home. You're loaded on a trailer. You have no idea who I am. You have no idea where you are. And it was super, super difficult because she was so sensitive. But it, at the same time, was such a, like a, like a heartwarming feeling knowing that I was going to be the person to be able to work her through that and to be able to get her through that. And then we did. And
So what are
months
some of the
later,
things that you did that got through that reactivity?
a lot of things with her was just repetition. a lot of repetition, showing her that, like, today we would walk up to the tarp and it wouldn't be scary, but then tomorrow we would walk up to the same tarp in the same place and it was like she'd never seen it before.
Right.
So it was a lot of repetition and just doing a lot of the same things in the same ways to show her that it wasn't scary and that it wasn't going to eat her, that the tarp wasn't going to eat her alive.
Yeah.
So with her, a lot of it was repetition and then a lot of confidence building. So a lot of you're such a good girl and a lot of positive reinforcement. And I found that with Coldbreast, since she was so reactive, she really, really, really took well to the positive reinforcement and being scratched and loved. And it was like she just needed some enthusiasm and some confidence. And I think we got to a point in our training where I learned that I was the person who was able to give her that confidence. And as soon as I realized that that was all she needed, was somebody to believe in her and somebody to guide her through everything and showing her that she doesn't need to be so reactive to everything.
Mhm.
That's when it really clicked and she gave me her all.
Cool. Tell us a little bit about your goals, including your business.
So my goals are, I want to be the next best trainer. I want to really build a name for myself, and I want to build a business where the people who are sending me their horses and the horses that I'm training are really built on a foundation of trust and on a foundation of doing what's right for the horse. I feel like I've been working in this industry long enough now that I've been able to differentiate between the different types of people and the different types of horse owners and horse trainers. And there's been a lot of experiences where there's been a lot of lessons that I've learned of things that I would love to be able to do as a trainer, and a lot of things that I want to steer away from as a trainer. And I want to be able to kind of forge my own path and build a business that I'm proud of and that I'm proud to stand behind, and that I know that the horses that I'm turning out, I'm proud to stand behind, and that the people who I'm training these horses for and who I'm sending these horses for are proud of. And then other than that, I also want to start performing. I really, really love performing, and I want to be able to perform with Pippi and show her off and the things we can do and show off what a Mustang can do, and to be able to go from a 15-year-old kid who got his first horse being a first Mustang and doing his first Mustang makeover to 5 years later being able to now have these opportunities to launch my own business and be able to take in training horses and have these amazing opportunities to travel and train and perform. It's just, it's incredible. And I want to be able to take that and make good use of all of the amazing opportunities that I've been given, because I'm so grateful for all of them. And I want to be able to continue to grow with them. And I think that by launching my business, that's really going to be my first step as branding myself as a trainer in the horse industry.
How much of your business is going to be Mustangs, do you think?
I would say definitely a good portion of my business would be Mustangs. There's just always there's a spot in them for my heart forever. Pippi obviously will be my forever horse wherever I end up in life. Pippi will always be going with me. I want to be able to continue to do Mustang makeovers and training events. And I want to be able to become a tip trainer and train the tip horses. And yeah, so I think Mustangs will always and forever have a big part of my life and of my business.
Okay. And are you heading towards like English, Western, straight Liberty?
I would say definitely a leniency towards Western. I learned riding Western. I've always loved riding Western. I love trail riding. So I would say definitely a more Western approach and a more Western outlook on it, but with my main focus being Liberty. So I also at the same time love bridleless riding and bareback riding. And yeah, so I would say a mixture of all of it, because I'm also not opposed to being able to hop in an English saddle every now and then.
Okay. We're going to have a Liberty Challenge this summer. You might want to participate.
Oh my God, I'm in. I'm in. As soon as
Okay.
I see details, Pippi and I are in. I would
All
love
right.
to.
Good.
And then oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
What advice do you have for people who are thinking about adopting? Now, you've been through the process of adopting as well as training a couple of other Mustangs. So what advice would you give people?
My advice to anybody interested in adopting a Mustang, first and foremost, would be to make sure that you have obviously the facilities and the time for them, because a horse is definitely a big what's it called, investment, and a big
Mhm.
decision to make. But if you have all of that settled and you can do it, then I say do it. You know, there's never, I think a lot of times what I've seen is people who think that there's going to be a right time, and that one day in life the perfect moment is going to arise for them to get a Mustang and train it. And I don't think that moment ever comes. You know, I don't think there's ever a
Yeah.
right or wrong moment to get a horse. So if you're thinking about it and you know that you want to do it and you love it, and this is something that you really want to devote yourself to, and you're willing to really, really devote yourself and your time and your effort and your energy, I think that you will definitely, definitely thank yourself years later.
Mhm.
Because I almost didn't do the makeover. You know, I think if it never came to New Jersey, I never would have done a Mustang makeover. And now I
Ah,
can't imagine what my life would look like if I didn't do it, and if I didn't have Pippi and all of these Mustangs and all of these opportunities that I've been granted.
yeah,
So my advice is do it. Go out and do it.
good.
And the
Okay.
Mustang community is so large and so vast that anything you could ever need, any help, any training advice, there's always somebody, there's always 10 people at least to be able to help you and guide you through it.
Right. Yeah, it's a great community.
It is, it really, really is.
Do you think you would do something like a storefront?
I think definitely one day if I had my own facility, that would be something I would totally be open to doing. I have a lot of plans in my brain for things that I would love to work with maybe the MHF and the International Liberty Horse Association with, to put together involving Mustangs, and maybe coming up with some new competitions and programs that we could propose and entertain.
Mhm.
So I think I would definitely be up for that. Absolutely 100%.
Yeah, cool. Where you're in North Jersey, correct?
I'm in Central Jersey, kind of
Central.
right smack in the middle between North and South.
Okay. Do you show or where do
Um,
you do Liberty competitions so
so
far?
I've taken Pippi with me to a couple of shows. We did a lot of shows leading up to the makeover for a lot of exposure and things. We
Mhm,
did a lot of like in-hand shows and trail classes and that type of shows. I've
mhm.
also shown riding, never with a Mustang because I've never had a Mustang that I've been able to ride in a show
Yeah.
yet. But I have done shows with other undersaddle horses, and this year I would love to start taking Pippi to actual Liberty shows and really, like I said, building a name for ourselves and showing the world what we've got to offer. I I think I spent the last year really honing down and fine tuning everything that we've been working on and all of the training, what we've got to show. And I
Mhm.
think both Pippi and I are at a place that we're ready to open ourselves up to the world and really get outside of just my round pen and my
Good,
training.
good. Well, and you have many years ahead with her. She's only just turning 3. So,
Yeah, she's gonna be my horse forever.
yeah.
I would probably sell both of my kidneys before I ever even considered getting rid of her.
Are you going to be training out of the barn that you're at right now?
Yes, for the time being, I'm going to be training out of the barn I'm at. We have an amazing facility, and I've been granted so many amazing opportunities there that it really feels like my home and the place that I love to do my training and the place that I feel most comfortable doing my training. And with access to the 500 acres of trails, I really think that that's something that's like once in a lifetime to be able to have. So for the time being, I'm going to be training out of the barn that I'm currently located at, but eventually, of course, I want to look into getting my own facility.
Okay. If people want to follow your journey, where can they do that?
Absolutely. So I have right now my personal Facebook page set up, which is just my name, Zachary Iosim. You can follow me there. Most of my training and everything is posted right towards there. And then at the end of this week, I'm going to be launching my Magic Performance Horses business pages. So there's going to be an Instagram page, a Twitter page, a Facebook page, all of the social medias, plus a website. And that's EQ, so like Mag Ek
Okay.
performance horses, and you can follow me and all of my progress and my training there. And I'm
And we will-
really going to be focusing this year on putting myself out there and putting my training and my videos and everything out there. So I would really love if people would follow us and follow our journey to see where it takes us for the next 5 years ahead and on.
Good. So, and for people listening, I will put all those links in the show comments so that you don't have to be scribbling things down thinking, what did he say?
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Sure. Any more pictures to share?
Yes, let me see what I've got in here. So you know what? I don't want to jump ahead. So let me get back to here. Where are those progress photos? So
There we go.
this was progress report number 1. So this was July of 2021. Little tiny Pippi with her feather duster tail. And then about a month later, this was progress report 2. She was definitely still super thin and very, very tiny. And then this was after the makeover. So this was about a month post makeover. And we were very fortunate to work with Jamie Baldanza, who is also a huge Mustang advocate and Mustang owner. And she's a amazing, amazing photographer. And she came out and she did these amazing photos for me. And I think they really capture the difference between Pippi before the makeover and Pippi after the makeover.
Yeah, she's a chunky monkey in this one.
Yeah, she is. Oh my God, I told you she loves food. And a fun fact about Pippi is above treats, above peppermints, above apples, above anything, her favorite thing on planet Earth, believe it or not, is a raspberry flavored Snapple iced tea.
That's very specific.
It is. And I have a crazy story of when one time before the makeover, when I was trying to load her on the trailer to get her to go to a show, and it took almost an hour and she refused to get on the trailer. And then I thought, what am I going to do to get this horse on the trailer? And what did it take to get her on that trailer? A bottle of raspberry Snapple iced tea. And then at the time of the makeover, I whispered in her ear, and this was a promise that I just made between the both of us, that if she came out and showed the best effort she could for the Mustang Makeover, I was going to buy her a 12 case of Snapple iced tea. And let me tell you, when I think that horse heard every word that came out of my mouth, she earned that 12 case of iced tea.
Wow.
And if you actually go on my Facebook page and scroll back a little bit, there's several videos of her holding the bottle on her own, and she tips her head back and chugs it all down and then spits it out and kind of like nudges me for more.
Yeah. Oh, silly pony.
Yeah, she's a goofball. And then let's see what else I've got. So this was our first show that we did together. We got 5th place. This was before the makeover. This was just a trail competition.
Yeah.
And in the top right corner was me working on some tricks for the freestyle, which was popping balloons over her body, which she was amazing for. And then
Yeah.
under that was a trick that Pippi actually taught herself, which I called a Michael Jackson trick.
Yeah.
You know, where she loved to super bend her head between her legs. And now this is a trick that anytime she's too lazy to do a trick that I'm asking her, she'll step up on her pedestal and do this trick instead because she thinks that it earns her a treat.
Gotcha.
And then this was another photo shoot that we did. This was before the makeover. This photo shoot was taken. Just some other photos of us together out in the trails. And then this is just some more photos of our exposure. So the top left was at the Horse Park of New Jersey at a trail show we did. At that show, we actually ended up coming 1st place. So I was super proud of Pippi for that. And that was her first time being at an off-property show. So
Yeah.
that show was her first off-property show, and she came in 1st place. And
Good
then
for her.
right under that was from the same show. I just love that photo of her in her blue sleazy. That's I think the cleanest photo I ever have gotten of her.
Yeah.
And then besides that is at a different time when we were back at the Horse Park of New Jersey when she got 2nd place for a different show.
Okay.
And then to the right of that was for a Halloween costume where we dressed up as Cruella DeVille and her Dalmatian.
All right.
And then this was for the actual makeover. So these photos were taken right at the completion of our makeover videos. And our theme for the makeover was The Greatest Showman. And if you go on my Facebook page and scroll back to October of 2021, you can watch our makeover classes and our freestyle. And I believe it's on the MHF's YouTube page as well.
Wow, I like your costume.
Thank you. And a part of the costume is missing, but our showstopper for this costume was, if you look in that left photo behind my hand, she had balloons taped behind her, flying out. And then at the end of the video, I popped them all and she stood like a queen on the pedestal.
Wow.
It was just so much fun. It was just such an amazing experience, to get to run around. And I felt like I was on Dancing with the Stars, We went in and there was all this exciting music and we were dancing and we were running. And that's how I feel when I walk into a ring and I'm performing with the horses, or I'm doing Liberty or whatever I'm doing with the horses. It's like they're my dance partner.
Yeah.
And like we're gonna salsa away to whatever music is showing. And it's just so much fun and so amazing. I really love what I do. I really do.
Yeah.
And then this is recent Pippi. So definitely a big change from the photos I first showed you when I first got her.
Looking like a grown-up.
I know, she's huge. So she's, I believe, hitting 15 two hands now.
Wow.
Yeah, she is huge and she's built like a super tank. And this was her last summer. This was her this past summer. So she's just growing and growing and growing. And she grows the hair of a baby Frisian, that horse.
Yeah.
I love her hair. So
have you DNA tested her by any chance?
I have not. I haven't yet, but that's a really, really good suggestion. I wonder what it would come back as. I'm gonna look into doing that. That's a good idea. And then these are just some more photos. That's her with a chair on her back. I made the joke that when I don't have a saddle, I'm gonna ride her in a plastic chair. And she really, really is the coolest, chillest, calmest Mustang I've ever met in my life. Yeah. I could throw anything at her. One time there was another experience. She's not a big fan of the trailer, I will say. Of all of her amazing things that she can do, trailering is not her forte. Mm-hmm. So another time when she wouldn't load onto the trailer for me, I wrapped her eyes in a hoodie that I was wearing to be able to blind her to walk on the trailer. Yeah. So she lets me do the trust that this horse puts into me is unbelievable. She really just follows me anywhere and everywhere. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't ask for anything more from her. And then in that bottom right photo with the two other horses, this was, I think, only about, when was that? That was Memorial Day post makeover. So only a few months after we had completed the makeover, and we were in Sayreville Township's parade, and she paraded through all of Sayreville Township with people lined all the way to the sides of the streets of Sayreville, huge trucks, music playing, things blowing, flags, sax, like the saxophone players playing, the marching band, and she was perfect, an angel. Wow. And then I showed you those photos, and then this is me. These photos were all actually taken within the past 2 months. So that first photo was just taken a few days ago. This was me standing on her butt, was a fluke of the moment idea where Pippi was kind of just showing me that she would be okay with it and she wanted to like try something new. So we tried it out and she stood there, and immediately the first thing she did is I stood on her butt, didn't move a muscle. All she did was turned her head to me and kind of looked and then smiled up because she wanted her treat. Oh, it just lets me really do anything. And then the other photos are of me sitting on her, starting to work on being able to maneuver without anything on with my legs. So starting the process of the bridleless riding. Yeah. And then under that is just a photo taken mid-Liberty work, which kind of just shows how our Liberty goes. She has no halter, no lead rope, nothing on. So if at any given point she wanted to run away, she absolutely could. And I think that really shows like the level of trust we have, where she wants to stay with me and she's willing to be able to have these fun moments with me. Yeah. Let's see, do I have any other photos? I think that's all of the ones I've put together for you today. Okay. But everybody is welcome to follow us on social media and on my new business page and on my new business website to follow up with our progress, because I'll be posting on there as much as possible. To keep our progress going.
All right. Well, Zachary, it was great to get to know you.
Thank you so much. You as well.
I look forward to watching your journey.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for this opportunity. I look forward to to being able to continue my journey and in the Mustangs and with everything, and just continuing on as a trainer and advocating for Mustangs.
Cool. Well,
All right,
thanks.
thank you so much.